Magandang umaga, Malacañang Press Corps. Nandito na po si Presidential Spokesperson Salvador Panelo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start the questions. Kagad.
Questions, Joyce? Joyce Balancio.
Guys.
Microphone, Jen.
Sir, good morning, Secretary.
Morning.
From DCMN, sir. Sir, can you tell us more about the President's events yesterday afternoon? I believe he had at least 3 meetings in the afternoon that were not, the information were not given to the member of the press. Ano po yung mga meetings na yon and ano yung naging resulta, sir?
There was a courtesy call by, let me check my. Nasaan yun, Chris? Nasaan yung binigay mo?
Sige, habang Nestor, may tanong ka muna? Or, sige,
Yes.
Nestor
Good
muna.
morning, Secretary. Yesterday, the President with Energy Secretary Kusi signed an oil exploration
Yes.
deal with Israel. Can you tell us more about this, sir?
Yun yung, because there is a statement from Secretary Gusi that there's now an agreement for oil and resource exploration. And a particular, I'll check the name of the company. Nakuha mo na, Chris?
Sige,
MPC, may iba muna kayong tanong aside from yesterday's event. Chona Yu.
Sir, PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino is saying na Commissioner La Peña should be held liable dun sa 6.8 billion pesos na shabu shipment. Any statement from the palace on that?
Now, the Department of Justice has ordered an investigation. The NBI is presently conducting the subject matter. So hopefully after the findings, you will undertake positive action regarding the matter. Under investigation pa.
So, sir, si President po ba, ay si General La Peña po ba, does he still enjoy the trust and confidence of the President?
Well, the President has not said anything about losing trust and confidence. So the presumption is he has the full trust and confidence of the President.
Joyce Balancio.
Secretary, do you confirm that the President offered the DICT post to Senator Gringo Honasan? And if yes, may update na po ba tayo if he already accepted the post?
I was with the President, but he has not told me anything about it.
So wala pang confirmation,
Wala pa.
sir? If he indeed offered? If the President offered, wala pa
Wala
pong
siya
confirmation?
sinasabing nag-offer. Parang it's just circulating.
Okay. Sir, how about the other cabinet posts that are now vacated after some cabinet secretaries?
I think the President will soon announce the replacement of cabinet members who have filed their certificates of candidacy. Now, with respect to the question earlier on the oil exploration, Secretary Kusi attended the ceremonial signing of the Petroleum Service contract for Area 4, East Palawan Basin of the 5th Philippine Energy Contracting Round, PECR 5. And the President signed the PSC on behalf of the Philippine government, and Secretary Kusi was witness. While the company president, Rafael Tabibsada, was also there, and he signed for the Israeli firm. the energy chief said that the event bodes well for the Philippine-Israel economic relations as well as the country's upstream petroleum industry. If you remember, the president made statements that our country needs to attain energy security and sustainability at the soonest possible time. Ang nagiging problema natin kasi wala naman tayong oil, kaya hirap na hirap tayo if we are compared to other countries na meron. We've been dependent on oil-producing countries for our oil. So we need to boost the exploration and development of our own energy resources.
Question, MBC? Pia.
And hindi pa.
I'm sorry.
Another thing, the Radio Petroleum, the Russia Petroleum Company, will be able to explore an area of 416 hectares across East Palawan Basin for potential oil and gas resources. And the projected minimum expenditure would be 34,350,000 US dollars. This will, of course, be derived from studies, data gathering, and drilling activities over an initial 7-year contract duration. So hopefully, magkakaroon tayo ng oil, makakakita tayo ng oil. And it will definitely help our country.
Pia.
Sir, may background po ba kayo dito sa Ratio Petroleum, and can you confirm that this deal was finalized during President Duterte's recent trip to Israel?
Yes, it was the contract was signed, and with respect to Ratio Petroleum, it was established in 1992, and it has a number of large-scale operations at the Levant Basin in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, off the coast of Israel, as well as offshore operations in the Republic of Malta and the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And this is the first petroleum service contract signed by the president under his administration.
Sir, are there other oil exploration deals in the pipeline for the Duterte
For now?
administration? Yes,
For
sir.
now, none yet.
May follow up? Follow up. Miss Panty.
Morning, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is this deal unprecedented or meron ng ibang administration?
There was one in 2013, the PXP Energy Corporation, the operator of PSC number 75 in northwestern Palawan, under the 4th PECR. It was signed on December 27, 2013. So actually, this will be the second.
Sir, yung 2013, this is between the Philippines and anong country po? Or a private company?
I think it's a private company.
Pero hindi po foreign government.
The information given us by the Department of Energy does not say so.
Okay, sir. Follow up lang po. Sir, kasi there's yung Joint Marine Seismic Undertaking nung panahon ni former President Arroyo, 2005 to 2008, it was with China and Vietnam. Its legality was questioned before the Supreme Court. So, but the Supreme Court is yet to rule if it is legal or not. Sir, itong bagong deal with Israel, would you say that this is within our constitution po?
I think so. We feel that the Constitution does not prohibit this particular kind of agreements. Of course, there will be others who will be questioning that again in the Supreme Court.
Yun nga, sir. I understand kasi, sir, the Constitution provides that pwede yung joint exploration, but with a foreign entity, pero dapat 60% Filipino-owned, 40% lang yung foreign. Itong sa Israel, ganun, is that the case po or not?
I will look into that particular contract. This is the only information provided by the Department of Energy.
Questions, MPC? Henry.
Secretary, nag-file na si Secretary Basco, Secretary Tolentino, and the rest na miyembro ng gabinete.
Yes.
Wala pa rin po bang kapalit sila kahit mga acting capacity hanggang ngayon?
I think there is an OIC and it's functioning.
May mga pangalan na po ba tayo niya? Mga yan?
No, I have not been given the names. But obviously it's operating because there is no stoppage in the continuity of the service.
Nestor.
Sir, hi. Sir, what was the marching order of the President to newly appointed Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin? Did they discuss the joint exploration agreement with China, since Malacañang earlier said that this would be ready for signing when President Xi visits Manila in November?
I was there at the oath-taking yesterday, and the conversation was like this. I'm honored for your appearance today, and there is only one message I would like to give you, and that is be truthful, nothing more. He said he appoints members of the cabinet on the basis of truth and competence. That was the only message. Because after that, the new DFA attended the courtesy call of the various foreign officials. And he was supposed to leave yesterday for Belgium to represent the president. So there was no time to have any discussion on the subject he wanted to respond to.
No marching order on the government's independent foreign policy and no?
Well, with respect to the foreign policy, I think the new DFA knows exactly the marching orders of the president. There has been no change from the time that secretaries have been appointed in the Department of Foreign Affairs, from former Secretary Yasay to former Secretary Alan and to him.
Questions? MPC. Alvin? Mamaya. MPC. Rosalie. Rosalie Cos.
Hey, Secretary. What can Malacañang say about the timeliness nung pagtataas ng pamasahe sa jeep tsaka sa bus na mag-start na siya ng November? Nung September, pumalo po sa 6.7 yung inflation. So, malamang dahil sa pagtataas ng pamasahe, maapektuhan na naman po yung inflation rate. So, ano po ang mensahe ng Malacañang sa mga maapektuhan na naman pong public?
Well, the message always, this is just temporary. So hopefully, when everything settles down, babalik tayo sa dati.
So, sir, sa tingin niyo po wala tong masyadong impact?
The increase is only 10.
Yes po,
Pesos.
minimum is 10.
Yeah, 10.
And sa bus po is 13 pesos. Pero mas marami po kasi ang commuters.
We really have to take the brunt sa ngayon. But if you notice, there have been changes in the prices in the market. They're slowly tapering. So palagay ko tama sinasabi ng mga economic managers. Hindi naman to permanente.
In connection to that, sir, kasi kahapon may statement po ang DOF na parang hindi po matutuloy yung $80 per barrel sa susunod na 3 buwan. Pero they will still proceed with the suspension of the second tranche. So, ano po ba yung final talaga, sir?
Hindi naman. We said that under the law, there are certain conditions. That has to be complied with. We cannot do without complying with those conditions.
Meaning, sir, so it depends pa rin kung...
Yes, of course. Yes.
So until now, talagang wala pa pong order to suspend the second tranche.
The order to suspend is nandun na, provided yung conditions na yun will exist during that period.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Questions? MPC. Bernadette. Microphone.
Sir, dun sa oil exploration deal with Israel po, kailan po kaya mag-start yung oil exploration, sir? Because you said it's in an initial 7-year contract po. So can we expect it to start within the month po, sir, or before the year ends po?
They haven't sent me a copy of the contract.
Okay. Okay, sir. Sige, sir. Thank you po.
Are you part of the chat group so that I can just, those questions and answered now I can just, are you? All of you? Officers lang? I'll just anyway, pag binadala ko naman sa isa, hindi mo nakakarating sa inyo lahat.
Joyce.
Please, did you request already a copy of the contract? Because ka na kagad.
Sir, on a different topic, the Communist Party of the Philippines admitted that rebels are incapable of unseating President Duterte in the face of, obsession of AFP always tagging them na sila yung namumuno sa ouster plot against the president. What's the palace view on this?
They are incapable. They are
They admitted.
incapable because of their resources. But once the Communist Party ally with forces that would want to topple the government, they may be able to have the capability.
Questions? Jen?
Hello, sir. Sir, has the administration finalized its senatorial slate for the next year's elections?
It's being finalized now. The PDP Laban, alay with Pong. We will make the official announcement. Of course, the announcement will be coming from the PDP Laban and Hugpong.
Sir, pending that finalization, what do you think are the chances of the administration slate beating the opposition 8 that includes Mar Rojas and others?
Well, given the popularity of the president, the chances of the senatorial candidates of the administration certainly are very good. But we will not discount the fact that there may be some opposition candidates who will win. However, our feeling is that whoever is elected, the message of the electorate would be, we trust this administration, and therefore those who have been elected will have to cooperate with the administration in terms of services that will be beneficial to the electorate and the rest of the nation. In other words, what I'm saying is not because you're in opposition and you won, it means that the electorate who voted for you are against the Duterte administration.
Sir, can you say that the administration candidates will not just rely on popularity or an endorsement of the president? They're actually competent enough
Oh, definitely. They have their own credentials to speak of. I think they will meet the standards.
Miss Panty. Aneska. Microphone. Sa yung microphone.
Sir, good morning po. Follow up lang po dun sa question niya. Sir, considering that PDP Laban is one of, its Secretary General is former Speaker Alvarez, tas yung hugpong naman po led by Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte, it's no secret that they're not in good terms, to say the least. So, would that, kumbaga, strained relationship between Mayor Sara and former Speaker Alvarez affect the chances of the administration candidates? Kasi you mentioned yung administration slate, PDP and Hugpong. Parang how can you combine them when the leaders do not necessarily agree on certain policies?
If I'm not mistaken, the chairman now of PDP Laban is Secretary Cusi.
Campaign manager siya, sir.
Siya ang chairman ng ano. And even assuming that there has been strained relations between the mayor of Davao City and former Speaker Bebot Alvarez, I don't think that will affect the support given by PDP Laban to this administration. After all, the Speaker is an ally of the President, even on a personal basis.
Questions? Ian Cruz.
Secretary, going back dun sa oil exploration, may hatian na po ba ng percentage sa Philippines and Israel kung paano po ang magiging hatian nito?
As I've said, I have not seen the contract yet. We're requesting for a copy. We'll message you the response immediately after this.
Apo. Secretary, ang dami po nag-apply sa exploration sa Philippines, particularly dun sa Palawan. Bakit po Israel ang napili ng Pilipinas?
Perhaps they pass certain conditions. The Department of Energy would have provided some conditions that will make them win the contract.
Questions? MPC? Hannah?
Hi, sir. Sir, is the palace amenable dun sa panukalang batas na gustong i-push ni Senator Gatchalian for nuisance candidate na kasuhan po sila dahil po sa makailang beses po sila mag-file ng kanilang candidacy at wala naman talaga silang kakayahan para tumakbo sa national post. Pero sabi naman po ng COMELEC, wala po daw silang karapatan para pagbawalan kahit sino man na mag-file o maghain po ng kanilang certificate of candidacies po.
I agree with the COMELEC. You cannot just disqualify people on the basis of just because they're not rich or they're not known. There has to be a basis, and the basis is whether or not they're using the electoral process to make a mockery of it or to destroy the chances of other candidates having the same names, for instance, just to confuse the electorate. Anyway, the COMELEC has the power to disqualify any and all candidates that will not pass through the standards they have set on the candidates and imposed by law.
Ace? Questions? Ina?
Sec, this is being being the new spokesman. Former Secretary Harry Roque basically complained about his lack of direct access to the president, specifically more recently yung sa schedule. Do you feel that you have enough access to the president's daily activities, or did you request that you be given more access than your predecessor?
I have the access. I know the schedule of the president every day. They send me in my email.
Did you make any requests about how your communication, I mean, getting the president's reactions or thoughts? Because Secretary Harry would sometimes, join the president's meetings to personally get the president's statements on certain matters. Are you going to do the same thing?
Yes, we always meet. Anyway, we're always seeing each other.
Okay. Sir, dun sa statement niyo kanina that regarding the CPP's capability to unseat the president, you said though they are incapable if they ally with other forces, they may have the capability. This sounds opposite to how your predecessor would describe the CPP's capabilities. He would always say na hindi nila magagawa yun. Does this mean that Malacañang is now taking a different position on the strength of the CPP?
Not really, because during the 50-year period, they have tried and they have failed. What I'm saying is they may have the capability to launch, but they will fail just the same.
Question?
The reason there is because overwhelming majority of the Filipinos are in favor of this administration. And you have to get the support of the people in order to oust the present dispensation or any dispensation for that matter.
Last, sir. Sir, what's your position on transparency in the president's activities? Will you be suggesting that events for close-in coverage, just like what happened yesterday, he had signings of that contract, dapat po ba ina-announce at least sa media yung schedule na ganun?
Well, it's the protocol and the PMS who decide on that. But I am for transparency.
We're just wondering because those activities were not included at all, even as private coverage doon sa official schedule given to us.
You can be sure I'll make some special requests with respect to any courtesy calls by any particular official, whether here or abroad.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, questions? Jopel.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, ngayon na nalagdaan na po yung joint exploration with Israel. Despite sa maraming kritisismo, malalagdaan po kaya or may assurance po kaya na malalagdaan din yung joint exploration with China? Is there any assurance na walang magiging balakid?
Well, everything will be dependent on the study being conducted presently on those agreements.
Okay, sir.
Okay, last questions. Jeneline.
Sir, sa schedule lang din kahapon, may we get details about the President's meeting with Japan's Liberal Democratic Party advisor, Kawai, with the President yesterday? What were there agreements forged with them?
It was a courtesy call, an exchange of pleasantries and the usual commitments on the mutual benefit that the countries will derive from their relationships.
Will the President visit Japan anytime soon?
Wala pang ano siya dyan.
Sir, on another
Yung, alam ko yung Singapore.
Sir, another meeting with the UAE Federal Authority, Al-Shamsi. Sir, ano naman ang napag-usapan?
Yung sa Emirates,
Yes, sir.
ganun din. Courtesy lang eh. Kasi a few minutes lang eh.
Will he visit UAE next month, sir?
Wala pang sinasabi sa akin ng protocol kung meron na.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Celerina.
Sir, follow-up ko lang regarding dun sa courtesy call of the Japanese official. I believe the comfort women, the statue of the comfort woman was discussed. Was there any kinonvey ba ni Mr. Kawai to the President the appreciation of the Prime Minister Abe regarding the removal of that comfort woman statue?
I was not there, and we asked the Department of Foreign Affairs to give us a briefing on that. So we will give you after this.
Okay,
And
pwede
respond
humingi
to
ng
you. Yeah, we'll just message it.
Maglalas.
Hindi pa dumarating, nag-request na kami.
Last question na tayo. Si Pia?
Sir, it has been 1 year since the liberation of Marawi. How do you assess the administration's efforts to ensure that Marawi will get back to normal again?
Well, the groundbreaking will start at the end of the month. And meanwhile, the company tasked to do it has started mobilizing their employees. Also, we receive another windfall from the U.S. To rehabilitate Marawi. We have so far, I think, $3.5 billion to help us rehabilitate Marawi.
Sir, kasi marami din po nakakapansin na it has been 1 year, pero marami pa rin po mga displaced residents ang hindi pa nakakabalik. And even the recovery efforts, sunod-sunod pong nagkaroon ng mga delays sa pag-start. Is the President happy or satisfied with what is happening in Marawi, sir?
Well, we cannot avoid delays. But the fact is, as I said earlier, the groundbreaking will start at the end of the month. So palagi ko, mabibilis na ngayon.
When is the groundbreaking, sir?
End of the month.
Thank you, sir.
Lanesca.
Follow up lang. Yung groundbreaking po has been postponed for 8 times na po bago tong October. I mean, bakit po ganun na 8 times na siyang napopostpone? Saan po ano po yung cause ng bottleneck?
As I said, sometimes you cannot also avoid delays. Masyadong malaking problema natin sa Marawi. What is important is it will start at the end of the month. And mabilis na yan.
Jeneline.
Sir, how safe is Mindanao?
How?
How safe is Mindanao? How's the security situation there? And is the government ready to lift martial law, or are you gonna extend it again next year?
Well, according to the military, the martial law has helped in the peace and order situation. And it has dissuaded the terrorists from inflicting their usual violence against the population.
So, will you now lift the martial law proclamation?
As I said, if it is helping the population is not even opposing it. So, to my mind, there is a need to extend it.
Extend it until next year? Because, sir, until the end of the year na lang
But
siya, diba?
as according to the president, that will depend on the advice, the recommendation of the military, because they are the ones on the ground.
Okay, last question, Ina.
Sir, last May there was a sort of a confusion on the president. Akala pupunta po siya ng Marawi to visit dahil dun, that's when the siege started. And then we were told that hindi daw po totoo yun na pupunta si Pangulo doon because he instead plans to go to the anniversary of the liberation, which was yesterday. I was wondering why that didn't push through, why the president didn't go there.
Yeah, because it conflicted with certain schedules that occurred yesterday or the other day.
Now, I was just wondering because Marawi is an issue very obviously close to the president's, part of the president's priorities. He didn't show up during the liberation.
Oh, but he's not attendance doesn't mean that he was not interested. In fact, he's been doing a lot of things for the rehabilitation of that place.
Has he told you anything about Marawi recently?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Nestor.
Sir, clarification lang, you mentioned that there's a need to extend martial law because it has been helping in the security in Mindanao. Is this the official stand of Malacañang?
Again, as I said, that will depend on the recommendation of the military. The president always heed the advice and recommendation of the military and the other police forces there, because they're the ones who are knowledgeable on the conditions existing there.
But you mentioned there is a need to extend, so meaning...
What I'm saying, there is a need to extend if that particular martial law would be helpful in maintaining peace and order. Because if it does not, then why do you have to maintain it?
But Secretary, are there proposals in the cabinet or at least in the security cluster to extend martial law? May mga ganung suggest? Wala pa.
There is no suggestion. The president always wait for the recommendation of the military.
Okay, thank you, Sec.
Pia?
Sir, the former Aquino administration has been criticized by the way it handled the rehabilitation or recovery of Tacloban after Typhoon Yolanda. Do you think that this would not happen in the Duterte administration pagdating naman po sa Marawi?
Hopefully not, because the president hates bureaucratic red tape. That is precisely why he said he appoints military men, because they don't ask questions, they just follow the orders. Unlike civilians who are prone to meetings before they can act.
But yung recovery pa rin po, it hasn't gone the way that the Duterte administration had planned it. Nabanggit na nga po, there had been so many delays with the start of the recovery pa lang. So, like what I said kanina, sir, is the president, I'm repeating my question, is the president satisfied with how things are going in Marawi?
Well, he has ordered the full movement that will immediately rehabilitate the place. And as I said earlier, the groundbreaking will start at the end of the month. So hopefully, dire-diretso na tayo.
Oh, sige. Last question na, Julie.
Sir, you mentioned that the president hates bureaucratic red tape dahil nga maraming pasikot-sikot. Give it, yung sa Marawi kasi, the groundbreaking was postponed because of glitches in the negotiation process. That's what Secretary Del Rosario said. Given that it's also a form of bureaucratic red tape, what's the president takes on this? Is he getting exasperated that it's been delayed for like what, 3-4 times already?
Yes, he was exasperated, but then again, tapos na yung red tape na yun, kaya mag-uumpisa na eh.
Can you expound
Eh,
on
natural lang naman yan, kasi pag nagkaroon ng negotiation, talagang
Yeah,
matagal na.
can you expound on on his sentiments na exasperated siya? Did he mention any names or
No naman, no. He just wants the full implementation of the rehabilitation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. No more questions? Okay, thank you, Presidential Spokesperson.
Thank you.
Salvador Panelo. Thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Back to my studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and People's Television Network.